It was supposed to be a weekend getaway. Just me, my girlfriend Sarah, and our 2 friends, Kyle and Jess. 4 people, 2 tents, 1 quiet forest. We'd all been stressed. Work, classes, life. And Kyle found this spot online. Said it was untouched, hidden, and beautiful. He was half right. The place didn't show up on Google Maps. He had found it through some old hiking forum, complete with handwritten directions. Red flag, in hindsight, but back then, it just felt adventurous. We drove 3 hours out of town and parked where the dirt road ended. From there, it was a 2-mile hike into the woods. The first mile was fine. Birds chirped, trees swayed, the sun filtered through the canopy like golden mist. Sarah was taking photos. Jess was laughing at Kyle's terrible jokes. It felt good, natural, peaceful, but the deeper we went, the quieter it became. No birds, no insects, just the sound of our boots crunching the dirt. We reached a small clearing around 5:30 p.m. It looked perfect. A circle of trees surrounded the space like a natural wall. There was even a tiny stream nearby. We pitched our tents, built a fire, cooked some canned food, and joked around until the stars came out. That night, the sky was too clear. No clouds, no planes, no sound, just the stars. Too many stars, like the sky was closer than usual. Sarah said she felt like we were being watched, but we laughed it off, until we heard the whispering. It came just after midnight. We were all in our tents, but not asleep yet. At first it sounded like wind through the trees, but then it turned into words, whispered words, dozens of voices overlapping. We froze. Kyle called out, "Did you guys hear that?" We all did, and it was getting closer. We all got out of our tents at the same time, flashlights in hand. The fire had burned low, just glowing embers now. Sarah grabbed my arm immediately. "Something's not right," she whispered. Jess was scanning the trees, her light darting across the trunks like something might leap out at any moment. Kyle, still trying to be the tough guy, muttered, "It's probably just wind messing with us." But even he didn't sound convinced. The whispering stopped as soon as we stepped into the clearing. Just silence again. Not peaceful silence. Tense, loaded, like something was holding its breath. We all stood there for a while, unsure of what to do. Eventually, we convinced ourselves it was just a trick of the wind, or maybe the stream carrying sound strangely. We went back into our tents, but none of us really slept. The next morning, Kyle said we should cut the trip short. Everyone agreed. It didn't feel right anymore. We packed up quickly and started heading back the way we came, but something was off. The trail was gone. I don't mean it was overgrown or hard to follow. I mean it was gone. Completely different. The clearing we had camped in looked the same, but every direction out of it led somewhere unfamiliar. The trees were twisted differently. The slope of the ground had changed. Jess was the first to panic. "This is the way we came, I swear." She kept saying, "I remember that tree." But when we followed the trail she pointed to, it looped back around. After 2 hours of walking, we returned to the same damn clearing. That's when we really started to lose it. Kyle insisted we must have made a wrong turn. He pulled out the compass. It spun uselessly in his hand. Just kept spinning, no matter which way we faced. I tried calling for help. No signal. Sarah checked her phone too. Still nothing. Jess tried to text her mum. The message failed to send. We were trapped in a forest that didn't want us to leave. Then Sarah noticed something carved into the bark of a nearby tree. It said, "You never left." We stared at the carving in silence. Jess whispered, Did one of you do this as a joke?" But none of us had a knife. And the letters weren't fresh. They were aged into the bark, cracked and darkened, as if they'd been there for years. Sarah backed away from the tree slowly, her voice shaky. "What does it mean? What does it mean we never left?" Kyle was pacing, muttering to himself. I tried to stay calm. Maybe someone else camped here before. Maybe they were just messing around. But even I didn't believe that. We decided to walk in a straight line. No matter what. No turning, no stopping. Just one direction until we hit a road or a creek or something. We picked east, based on the sun, and marched. We left markers behind us every few minutes, tying cloth from our bags onto branches, stacking small piles of rocks, just to be sure. An hour later, we found one of our markers ahead of us, not behind, ahead. It was the same strip of blue from Kyle's torn jacket, tied to a branch. The rocks we had stacked were in the exact same formation. Jess burst into tears. Kyle kicked the nearest tree and screamed. Sarah started walking in random circles, muttering "no, no, no, no," over and over. I pulled them all together. "Look, we are not dead. We are not cursed. We are just lost. This is just a messed up forest. People get turned around in the woods all the time, but even as I said it, I could hear my voice cracking. Then we noticed the trees had changed. They were closer together now, tighter, leaning inward, as if they were watching us, listening. Sarah pointed out that there were no animal sounds, no birds, no bugs, not even wind anymore. It was like the entire forest was holding its breath, waiting. That's when we heard the footsteps, not ours, behind us, slow, crunching leaves, one step at a time. We turned around, flashlights ready, breath held, no one there. Then another step, this time to the left, then behind us again, always just out of sight. Then a voice whispered from the trees, "Why did you come back?" We ran. No one said anything. We just ran, pushing past branches, leaping over roots, scrambling through underbrush. I don't even remember how long we ran for. My legs burned, lungs screamed, but I didn't stop. None of us did, until we burst through a wall of low-hanging branches and stumbled into a clearing. The clearing, our clearing, same circle of trees, same bent log near the stream, our old fire pit, now crackling again with flame. None of us had lit it. We had packed up the camp, extinguished the fire completely, but there it was, burning, warm, flickering as if we'd never left. Our sleeping bags were spread out again. The tents re-etched, our bags, zipped and placed neatly beside the fire. Jess broke. She started screaming at the top of her lungs, just standing there, screaming like her brain snapped in half. Kyle grabbed her, trying to calm her down. Sarah pulled me close and whispered, "This can't be happening." We left. We packed up. We left. I didn't have an answer. Then I noticed the carving again, the one that said "You never left." Only now, another line had been added beneath it. "Stay, this is home." Sarah backed away from the tree. "Something doesn't want us to leave," she said. It's playing with us." I wanted to argue, to say something rational, but the forest had already taken logic away from us. The light was changing, dimming, even though it was still daylight. The shadows were stretching, moving like they were alive. That night, we stayed by the fire, not because we wanted to, but because we didn't trust the woods after dark. We didn't sleep, we just sat close, trying to keep our backs to each other, flashlights in hand. Sometime after midnight, we heard branches snapping from the trees around us. Then soft, deliberate footsteps. But this time, something stepped into the firelight. It was a man, at least it looked like one, wearing a hiker's backpack, old torn jeans, boots caked in mud, but his face, there was no face, just smooth skin where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been, like it had been erased. He tilted his head at us slowly, as if studying us. Then he pointed at Jess. She stood up like she was in a trance, and began walking toward him. Jess walked toward the faceless man like she was sleepwalking. We shouted, begged, screamed her name, but she didn't stop. Her flashlight dropped from her hand. She stepped past the fire's edge, and the shadows swallowed her whole. One blink, and both she and the faceless thing were gone. No sound, no scream, no trace. The fire dimmed instantly. Sarah was shaking uncontrollably. Kaya was pale, whispering prayers under his breath. I couldn't think, couldn't move. We had just watched someone disappear into nothing, and whatever that thing was, it had chosen her. Why her were we next? That night we took turns staying awake, but sleep found us anyway. When I opened my eyes, it was morning, and we were back in our tents. Like none of it had happened, except Jess was still gone. Her bag was there, her shoes, her coat, but she was gone. We tried to leave again, chose another direction, didn't matter. We walked for hours and ended up right back at the clearing. Again, only this time, there were 4 tents. One more than we had set up, and every one of them had names stitched on the front flaps. Sarah, Kyle, me, and Jess. We never stitched our names. That night, it rained, hard. The fire wouldn't light. The forest grew darker than ever before. The shadows came closer, stretching toward us, even with no light to cast them. We could hear whispering all around us, not just behind the trees, but inside our heads. Kyle snapped. He ran into the woods screaming Jess's name. We chased him, called for him, but he never answered. We never saw him again. Now it's just me and Sarah, or at least, I thought it was. This morning I woke up to find Sarah standing at the edge of the stream, staring into the water. I called her name. She didn't turn around, just said, "I remember now. I've been here before." When I asked what she meant, she finally turned to me. It wasn't Sarah. It wore her face, but her eyes were all wrong. Too wide, too dark, too hungry. I ran through the trees, past the stream, past the clearing, and now I'm alone. I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know if I'm real. The sun never moves. The forest never ends. Every path leads back. And sometimes, at night, I see new people walking into the clearing, laughing, holding hands, pitching tents, just like we did. I try to warn them, but they can't hear me because I'm not really here anymore. I think I belong to the forest now, and it's waiting for you.